Noire. Here's a game that I played almost 2 months ago and I'm just getting around to reviewing. Back when I used to work in a video game store, the same commercial for Elle Noire would loop for hours on the big TV, marketing the game as a golden cop's work to find and stop the Black Dahlia killer. I didn't give it much thought at the time, but during my E3 trip, I played a bit of it at a friend's house and was blown away.
As soon as I got home, I bought a copy and marathoned it.
At first it was great. Wonderful even. The graphics are all extremely lovely because of the motion capture. The story was very driving, following a classic noir film, and the somewhat boring shooting sections were balanced out by high-speed chases on foot and by car. Not to mention Bukowski, greatest partner of all time, cracking jokes in the passenger seat as I drove him around like we were on our way to prom. Crime scene investigations are also forgiving and interesting due to the realism wherein certain objects will make the controller shake if they're important enough to be examined, with the exception of some arbitrary trinkets now and then. Let me just say that finding an unconcealed gun in a suspect's house and having Cole say, "Nothing of interest here," is none too reassuring. The music cues are also a tremendous help. If you're good, the game will hand you intuition points that'll make investigations even easier, but in all honesty, I got through them without using a single one. But of course, a huge part of being a PD is being able to throw suspects around and wildly accuse them of planning to blow up handicapped children's hospitals or something, right? Oh, obviously! Rest assured you'll have tons of opportunities to interview, harass, console, and finger witnesses and suspects on your smoggy LA adventure. If you're a real detective or just really analytical and have a good memory, you'll easily be able to scan the clues and figure out who's lying and who's being honest. If you're like me, though, and sometimes find Phoenix Wright games a bit tricky, you can get a massive hint by watching the faces of the people you interview. Due to the unbelievably realistic motion capture, the characters all seem like real actors, and so when they lie or don't tell the whole truth, they'll look away, glance around suspiciously, shrug their shoulders, or bite their lip. That's your cue. And if you accuse them of lying and then have no evidence, fear not! Just back out and Cole will mutter a vague apology, making the accused sobbing housewife completely forget about being called a jizz-sucking whore only a moment ago. Elle Noire initially presents itself with Cole Phelps, the new guy who's proving himself as a traffic detective on the Los Angeles Police Department team. Obviously, you might think, if you'd heard much about the story beforehand, it'll work up to the Dahlia murders and therein will be the great climax of the story. Fine with me, I thought, and continued on, letting Bukowski drive everywhere since I'm lazy. And true enough, after a few traffic missions and a pretty razzle-dazzle final shootout on an old movie set, Cole's welcomed into homicide and gets new missions, a new outfit, and a new partner who looks like everyone's uncle ever. At first, I kinda hated him for being a sexist, rude, grouchy old man with a drinking problem and a lazy streak, but as the Black Dahlia cases started to become more intense and difficult to solve, he broed it up and we had some of the best times of the game, swinging on chandeliers, wading through tar pits, navigating mazes, and exploring LA landmarks that, being a native Californian, made me quite nostalgic and fuzzy inside. Finally, the conclusion! You won't get away from me, Dahlia killer. I've waited a long time for this. What? Wait, the game's not even over yet? Not even halfway over? Well, okay, but what else is there in LA Noire? Shit! Promotion shremotion. Vice sucks. New but more boring missions, new but more asshole partner, new but less flattering wardrobe, sudden but fucking awful plot twist. Well, the story indeed tried to say, well, you can't be a golden boy forever. Obviously, you need a shift to keep the story interesting, right? Yeah, that's true, but no buts! This is Noire, not Phelps the Wonder Cop! Despite Phelps being overall unremarkable and pretty much a robot throughout the whole story, he makes an unbelievably out-of-character decision that pretty much makes him into a towel boy so pathetic that the player can't help but think, what? Where did this even come from? What the fuck is this? I know I'm being vague, but I don't want to give the whole game away. Obviously, let me just say that trying to make a generally apathetic robot into a woefully mushy human with feelings and urges and a loving wife and pair of kids that we never see or hear about apart from being mentioned once at the drop of a hat just doesn't work. This is where I began to feel that LA Noire's story was starting to go a little crazy. Sure, the final ending tied up all the newspaper strings from the game's beginning onward, but no matter how much they tried to make it exciting, it was really nothing compared to the homicide finale. It's kind of like having an epic battle between Hercules and Lord Voldemort, only to follow it up with a middle school gym class. It's not bad, it's just a letdown. I was left with the bluest figurative balls. Here's an idea, Elle Noire. Why not change the order of the desks? That way you'll have more thrilling action towards the end of the— No! Shut up, Elle! Listen to some more of Roy Earle's racial slurs. Certain tiny things about the game nag at me too. Obviously, because the game follows a movie-like plot, you can't catch the real killer until the end, so it goes without saying that some of the suspects you arrest are innocent. This is passed off as great police work. But wait, there was all this evidence in the suspect's house. He kept running away when I tried to interrogate him. He even tried to flee the police station in his car, and he was 100% innocent? What, did the real murderer just go around everyone's houses and plant fake evidence so that later he could render it all useless by leading clues up to himself? Well, maybe. I mean, Elle Noire has a grudge against recapping and reviewing things, apparently. Often the game will just assume that you know what things are without even bothering to state what you discovered because of a clue or a crime scene or an interview. And who knows, maybe you're really smart and you do know, but not everyone does. If I see a pair of panties in an actress's handbag, I don't automatically think, she must have been raped. Sorry, Elle Noire, I guess I'm a dumbass. Maybe that's why when I find tons and tons and tons of murder evidence in someone's house and catch them trying to cop out of a lie, I assume that they're the murderer, not the random guy that you'd like me to put away instead. Not that it matters, since neither of them are the murderer. Shut up, Elle, 3 out of 5 stars. Overall, I'm a little too disappointed in this game. During the last homicide missions, I kept thinking to myself, I can't wait to review this. Elle Noire is seriously awesome. And it really was. But it ended far too soon for me and didn't make up for where it stopped doing its best. And that's not to say that it was bad. It definitely wasn't the worst game I've played. Even when it started going downhill, I was invested enough to breathlessly play it to the end. The characters were all extremely well thought out and realistic, and it was really entertaining to switch partners with each desk and see how they worked and thought. I actually had some great conversations with them, and as rough as they started out, there wasn't one that I really disliked. Except Roy Earle, who I invite to eat a dick. But even he was at least more real than Phelps. I was such a Phelps fan until Vice. After that, even getting to sample playing as Kelso was like a vacation in the Bahamas. In conclusion, it's a good idea with a bad ending, and if you can, borrow it from someone. Then why not go uncharacteristically run over some people with your car and buy yourself some Finnish whores? Yeah, enjoy your new desk.
Sorry, my fault. Darwinism in motion. Are you stupid? Move! You're dragging your feet. Move, you idiot!